Are you a funder or broker in the commercial financing sector? There's a new law on the horizon in Florida that could significantly impact the way you do business. Stay tuned as we dive into the Florida Commercial Financing Disclosure Law and what it means for you and your business. You're not going to want to miss this. I'm Jordan Hansen, and this is Beyond Banks, a show that dives into important news and items relevant to the alternative business finance industry. This show is sponsored by Cobalt Intelligence, a software product that can really help streamline your underwriting by doing automated Secretary of State checks and much more. Now, let's dive into this document and this new law. Now, let's take a look at this law. This was signed by the governor on Friday, June 23rd. So from the date of this copy, it was just a few days ago from the date of this video. But you can see here that although it says it goes into effect on July 1st, see, this act shall take effect on July 1st, 2023. I don't think you have to be as concerned as you think, because you can see here that it really only applies to any commercial financing transaction consummated on or after January 1st, 2024. You also can note that this does not apply to your typical things like your banks, your subsidiaries, all these things. It really is targeted at the alternative business finance industry. It also, let's see, all these items, it's secured by real estate, a lease. So these are really targeted at revenue-based financing. And I think we can all agree that this is something to protect the industry, to help stop predatory practices that does happen sometimes in this industry. Now, this is similar to other items that happen in other states. We know that these disclosure laws have been out there in places such as New York, California, Utah. Now, this is a new one for Florida. And really the most important things you have to note, as it's things like includes the detail about the total amount of the funds provided, the total amount to be paid to the provider being the funder, the total dollar cost, the manner, the frequency, the amount of each payment, and any costs or discounts associated with prepayment. Funders also need to review their current disclosure practices and need to make sure that any necessary adjustments to ensure that they meet these requirements. And there's also something for brokers. The law prohibits certain actions by brokers, such as collecting advance fees and making false or misleading representation. And then funders need to make sure that they are also not engaged in any acts. One other thing I thought was kind of interesting is that the Attorney General certainly is responsible for enforcing this. Now, a violation is punishable by a fine of $500 per incident. That to me does not seem huge, and it can't exceed $20,000 for all aggregated violations. I'm not sure if this is per transaction, or it looks like it's the transaction. So it's probably per transaction, which I guess could be pretty bad. Now, the other thing to note is that this is before you receive a written notice. Now, after you receive a written notice, then it just goes up. It's $1,000 per incident then, and it goes up to $50,000 for all aggregated violations. So it's something to be aware of, maybe not something to be overly concerned about, especially since you have 6 months to integrate it and to change your processes. Really, for any reputable commercial or alternative business finance professional, it's a pain to have to integrate this into your process, but it's probably good for the industry in general because it's going to help protect the merchants and stop really the bad name that merchant cash advances have. Everyone thinks it's a scam, scammy, bad industry, and we know how important it is really to these businesses that cannot get financing elsewhere. So you just have to be very upfront and clear about what you're doing, and obviously consult with your legal team as you go through this. But one thing to remember, that although this law takes effect on July 1st, 2023, it is not there. It only applies to transactions that happen after January 1st, 2024. So you have 6 months to get your process in place. This is Jordan Hansen from Cobalt Intelligence and Beyond Banks. Hope this has been helpful. If it has, hit that like button and subscribe, and we will talk to you later.